Hello everyone and welcome to this video on Python. So in this video, I will attempt to create a trading strategy using the Fibonacci and RSI indicators. So I'm currently on Google's website. It's called colab.research.google.com and I'm on it because it makes it easy to get started programming in Python. So if you want to code along with me, then go to this website and log in using your Google account to get started writing your Python code. All right, so let's go ahead and click on File, click on New Notebook in Drive. This will open up a new tab for you, and then eventually it'll open up a new cell. And before we start programming, if you would like to get the code or the data set or just support the channel, then you can do that on Patreon at patreon.com/computerscience. And I will leave a link for that in the description below. Again, that's patreon.com/computerscience. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to import the libraries that I need for this program. So I'm going to import pandas as pd, and then I'm going to import numpy as np, and then I'm going to import matplotlib.pyplot as plt. All right, and Google gave us some other suggestion here. I don't need it, so I'm just going to get rid of that. Let's go ahead and let's run this cell by clicking this button here to the left. This will let me know if I made any mistakes. And it's running right now, so we're gonna give it a little while. Look like it's good. Yep, we get a little check mark. I'm gonna create a new cell by clicking that code button in the top left now. And now I have this new cell, and in this cell, I'm gonna create a function to calculate the RSI, and RSI stands for Relative Strength Index, and it's an indicator that's used in trading to identify overbought or oversold conditions in an asset. Okay, so let's go ahead and create that function. I'm going to call it calculate underscore RSI, and it's going to take in some data, and it's going to take in some period that I'm going to default to 14. All right, then I'm going to create a variable called delta, and I'm going to set delta equal to data close dot diff. All right, and this right here will calculate the difference in the closing prices. Then I'm going to create a variable called gain, and I'm going to set it equal to delta dot where delta is greater than 0. We're going to put 0, and then I'm going to put dot rolling and set window equal to period, and then put dot mean to get that average. So here we're just calculating the average gain over the window period. All right, next I'm going to create a variable called loss. I'm going to set it equal to almost the same thing. It's going to be negative delta dot where delta is less than 0. We're going to put 0, and then I'm going to put dot rolling, and then I'm going to set window equal to our period, and then we're going to put dot mean as well, left parentheses, right parentheses. All right, so this just calculates the average loss over the window period. So I saw Google was trying to make some suggestions to me. Maybe I should have just let it. Anyways, now we're going to go ahead and create a variable called RS, which will be short for relative strength, and that's equal to the gain divided by the loss. Then we're going to calculate the RSI using RS. All right, so let me say that again. RS is relative strength. It is the gain divided by loss. And then we're going to calculate the RSI using the RS. Okay, and Google has given us a good suggestion here. So I'm just going to tab over. And this is exactly what the formula is for RSI. So we're good. And you can look that up yourself if you want to on Google. All right, so let's go ahead and run this cell. And let's add a comment. So create a function to calculate the RSI. Okay, so I'm going to run this again. All right, let's go ahead and create a new cell by clicking that code button in the top left. And now I'm going to calculate the Fibonacci levels. So here I'm going to create a function called calculate underscore Fibonacci underscore levels. And it's going to take in some data. All right, and we're going to get the max price. So I'm going to create a variable called max price. I'm going to set it equal to data close, and then put dot max, left parentheses, right parentheses. And I actually should talk a little bit about the Fibonacci retracement levels. So these levels are used in trading to identify potential reversal points and key areas of support and resistance. And so that's why we're going to use these Fibonacci levels here. Also, what's interesting is that you will see the Fibonacci sequence throughout nature, not just in finance. So it's a pretty interesting sequence. All right. But we're going to use it here to create our buy and sell signals. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that strategy as we go on through this code. Okay, so here we have our max price. We're setting it equal to data flows dot max. So I think that looks good, except for I misspelled data in the parameter. All right, next I want to get the min price. So I'm going to create a variable called min price, set it equal to data close dot min. Right, so I like what Google has put here for us. And then we have our Fibonacci levels here that Google just suggested for us, and that looks good, but we're going to do something a little different. So let's go ahead and calculate the difference between the max and the min price. So here I'm going to create a variable called diff and set it equal to max underscore price minus min underscore price. And so this right here will calculate the difference between max and min for us. And now with this information, I can actually calculate the levels, Fibonacci levels that I want. So I'm going to create a variable called levels, and I'm going to set it equal to the left and right curly brace. All right. I kind of like what Google has here, but I'm going to change it up a little bit. We're going to put 0.0%. This will be the max underscore price, and Google has made some suggestions here for the other Fibonacci percentages, and I like it. So I'm going to just tab over. Let's press enter. Let's see if it will continue doing this for us. All right. It looks like it's not going to. So we're going to add 50.0%. And actually, no, I don't like what it's putting here. So we're going to put 50% and then colon and then max price minus diff. Yes, I like all of this. So I'm just going to tab over. I like those suggestions, except for, I believe, the Fibonacci number would be 78.6. So don't quote me on this. We can change that number later on if we need to. So we're going to do 786 here. All right. And then I want 100% to be the min price. All right. I think that looks good. And then I'm going to return levels. So that looks good. I'm going to get rid of this curly bracket. And there we go. So let's go ahead and run this cell. Let's add a comment. So here I'm just calculating the Fibonacci levels. All right, let's run that again. Okay, so let's create a new cell. And now in this cell, I'm going to create a function that will allow us to get these levels. And that's going to be important for our strategy, which again, I'm going to talk about later on. So let's create a function called get underscore Fibonacci levels. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to get, or we're going to put in the close price as one of the parameters, and then we're going to put in the Fibonacci levels as another parameter. Okay, and then I'm going to create a variable called upper level, and I'm going to set this equal to not what Google's suggesting here. Let's go ahead and just put in min. We're going to get level for level in Fibonacci underscore levels dot values, left parentheses, right parentheses, if the level is greater than or equal to the close price, the close underscore price. And otherwise, we're going to default the value to be none. Okay. So I like that. And then Google has given me another suggestion here. So I'm going to just tab over. And so it created a variable called lower level, and it put max here. and then put level for level in Fibonacci levels.values. If levels less than or equal to the close price, then we're going to return level. Otherwise, we're going to put in none. And then I want to return upper level and lower level. So I'm going to put upper level, comma, lower level. Now, what we're doing is we're getting the minimum level for the upper level, right? We're getting the minimum level that's greater than or equal to the close price for the upper level. And then for the lower level, we're getting the maximum level that is less than or equal to the close price. And of course, if we don't find anything, if those conditions are not met, then we're going to just put in none. All right, so that looks pretty good. Easy way to get us the upper and lower levels. So here I'm going to create a function to get the upper level and lower level of the of the close price. All right, so let's go ahead and run that cell. Let's create a new one. And now here I want to load the data and set the date column as the index. So I'm going to create a variable called data, and I'm going to set it equal to pd.read underscore CSV, and then I'm going to put in Amazon underscore data.csv. And because I already know what's in this file, I'm going to set index underscore call equal to the date column. All right, and then I want to ensure the date column is parsed as date time. So I'm going to type here data dot index, and I'm going to set it equal to pd dot to date time data dot index. Okay, and then I want to show the data. So I'm just going to type data here. So let's go ahead and run this, and we're going to get an error message, right? Because we have not loaded that Amazon underscore data.csv file yet. So let's go over here to this folder or files icon, click the upload icon, and I'm going to choose Amazon underscore data. I get a little warning, but it's okay. So I'm going to click OK. And now we have our data set loaded. So let's exit the left pane and let's run this cell again. And now we can see our data set. So it contains data from December 16th, 2014, all the way to December 11th, 2024, about 10 years worth of data. We get 2,514 rows of data and 6 columns. Okay, and those columns are all up here: open, high, low, close, adjusted close, and volume. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a new cell now that we have our data set, and let's calculate the RSI and put these values in our data set. So I'm going to create a column called RSI, and I'm going to set it equal to our function that we created, which was called calculate underscore RSI. And I'm going to just tab over because we're setting it equal to calculate underscore RSI. We're putting in the data, and I just tabbed over because Google had already finished it for us, and it actually did something else that I want to do, which would have been to calculate the Fibonacci levels, okay, using our calculate Fibonacci levels function. So both of these look pretty good. I think that's exactly what we want. Of course, here I can also add the period, right? I can add 14 here, but we already defaulted the 14 value, so I don't have to put anything. Or if I don't want the 14-day period, then I can put something else like 30 days, right? Put 30 here. But it's defaulted as 14, so I am good with that. And let's see, we have calculate Fibonacci levels, so that's good. Let's go ahead and run this. And I'm going to create a new cell. I'm just going to type data to take a look at the data set now, and we should see that RSI column and some values in there. So it looks good. All right, so I'm going to create well, let me go ahead and just comment this. Show the data with the new RSI column. All right, so let's run that again. Let's create a new cell. Okay, now in this cell, this is where we're going to create a function to generate trading signals for us. All right. So here I'm going to put that create a function to generate trading signals, aka buy and sell signals. All right. So I'm going to call this function generate underscore signals. It's going to take in some data and it's going to take in the Fibonacci levels. Fibonacci levels. There we go. All right. Then I'm going to create the buy and sell signals. So I'm going to create a variable called buy signals and set it equal to an empty list. I'm going to create a variable called sell signals and set it equal to an empty list. All right, let's talk a little bit about the strategy. So I want to create a buy signal when the RSI is below 50 and the stock's closing price is at or below the previous lower Fibonacci retracement level. And then I want to create a sell signal when the RSI is above 70 and the stock's closing price is at or above the previous upper Fibonacci retracement level. And then I only want to buy, no, I only want to sell the position if I've already bought into that position. And so for that, I'm going to create a variable called position and set it equal to false. This will help me track if we are holding a position in the asset. All right. So next I'm going to loop through the data set. So for I in range 0 to the length of our data set, I'm going to get the previous Fibonacci. I'm going to get the previous Fibonacci levels. So I'm going to create a variable called previous underscore upper underscore level and previous underscore lower underscore level and set it equal to get Fibonacci levels, which is the function that we created. So I'm just going to tab over because Google looks like it's doing what I want to here. All right, so let's take a look at this. All right, so we are going to input into our parameter the previous close price, which is data close.ilock I minus 1. I minus 1 is the previous close price. And then we're going to input those Fibonacci levels that we have. Okay. Okay, so that looks really good. I'm going to get rid of this that Google gave me. All right. And let's just tab over. Okay, so next I'm going to ensure previous levels are not none because I might have messed up. So if previous upper level is not none or the previous lower level is not none, then we're going to append nan to our buy signal. So I almost like what Google has here, but that's not exactly what I want. So I'm going to put is not none or previous lower level is not none. And I'll put another condition or I equals 0. Okay, because if I is equal to 0, then here will be 0 minus 1, which will be -1, and I don't want that. Okay, so here I'm going to put buy underscore signals dot append. I'm not going to put none in here, but let's just tab over for now. Instead of none, we're going to put np dot nan, and then same thing for here, np dot nan. So we're appending nan to both the buy and sell signals, and then we're going to just continue here. All right. Okay, so that should do it for the check. Next, I want to implement the strategy and generate the buy and sell signals. So let's do that. If data at RSI.iLock position I, if it's less than 50 and data data close. I need to put in iLock here. Data RSI at position or dot iLock I, okay, is less than 50, and data dot iLock at position I is less than or equal to the previous lower level, and not position, and I is greater than or equal to 1. I probably don't need that condition, but we're going to put that anyways. Then we're going to have our buy signal. So I'm going to put buy underscore signals dot append data close at position I, and then our sell signal we're going to append NAND, okay, because we're not doing anything with our sell signal. So Google put that already, so I'm just going to tab over, and that looks good. Okay, and then of course I need to set the position to be true to say that we are now holding a position in this asset. All right, next I need an else if statement. So I kind of like what Google put here. I'm just going to tab over, change a few numbers. So instead of 50 here, I'm going to put 70. And yes, so now if the RSI is greater than 70 and the close price is greater than or equal to the upper level, and we have a position, and I is greater than or equal to 1, then I have a sell signal. So here I'm going to put buy underscore signals dot append np dot nan. The sell signal will append the close price at that position, and then we're going to set our position to be false. And then of course we're going to have our else statement to just append NaN values to our buy and sell signal if neither of the first two conditions are true. So Google put all this already here for us, so let's just tab over. All right, and that should be it. Okay, so let's see. Is all this in the loop? And all this is in our function. So we are going to now come down here, and we are going to return our buy underscore signals and our sell underscore signals. All right. All right, so let's go ahead and run this cell. Hopefully everything is good. Let's create a new cell now that we have our trading strategy, and we're going to actually generate our buy and sell signals. So let's generate the trading signals because we created the function for it, right? Now we need to actually get them. So I'm going to create two new columns called buy signal and data sell signal. And I'm going to set it equal to generate underscore signals data Fibonacci levels. So this is our function that we just created. We're inputting our data, and we're inputting our Fibonacci levels, and we're getting the buy and the sell signals. Okay. And I make these capital S's. Okay, so let's go ahead and run that. Hopefully everything's good. It is. I'm going to create a new cell, and let's plot this now. So here we're going to plot the stock price and signals. So I'm going to type plt.figure, give the figure a figure size. I'm going to make it 14 by 7. So let's do 14 here, and let's put 7 here. All right. And then I'm going to type plt.plot, and I'm going to input data close. And that looks good. I'm just going to tab over. Label will be, we'll go with close price. And then I will give this an alpha. So I set the alpha to be 0.5. And I think that looks good. So this should plot the closing price for us. And then we're going to use a scatter plot to plot the buy and sell signals. And I like what Google has put here, so I'm just going to tab over. So it put plt.scatter data.index for the x-axis, and then data buy signal for the y-axis, and then the label will be buy signal, the marker will be up, and then the color will be green. And then for the sell signal is very, very similar. It's going to have the index on the x-axis, which will be the date, right? And then on the y-axis will be the sell signal, the label will be sell signal, and the marker will be a down character, and then the color will be red. So that looks really good. And now let's go ahead and add. Oh, I like this suggestion too. So I'm just going to tab over for now. But let's add the Fibonacci retracement levels. So here we're going to add Fibonacci retracement levels to the plot. So for level in Fibonacci levels dot values, I'm just going to tab over because this looks pretty good. We're going to put in PLT dot XH line. We're going to set our Y equal to level. The color doesn't really matter. It can be gray. We'll make it gray for now. The line style will be dotted, which is fine as well. And then the alpha will be 0.5. So this will plot the Fibonacci retracement levels on our graph. All right, and then Google has made even more suggestions. I'm going to give this title, we'll call it Amazon stock price or stock price with trading signals. That's fine. We'll give the x-axis a label, which will be date. The y label will be price. We're going to show the legend with plt.legend, and then we're going to show this plot with plt.show. All right, so here we're just give the plot a title, labels, and a legend. All right, so I think that should do it. Let's go ahead and run this and let's see what it looks like. Okay, it looks like there are no buy and sell signals for some reason. So let's go here. Let's create a new cell. Let's type data here to show the data set. Let's run this. Let's scroll over, look at our buy and sell signals. It looks like a bunch of NAND values. So something's going on there. I'm going to delete this for now. Let's go back up to our generate signals. So something must be incorrect here, right? So we are looping through our generate signals function. We have buy signals here, sell signals. So, okay, we have previous upper level and previous lower level. All right, so get Fibonacci levels. I'm going to assume that that's correct. And then we're ensuring that the previous levels are not none. So it's just going to put this if the previous level oh, here we go, that's the problem. If the previous upper level is none, or the previous lower level is none, or I equals 0. So I think that's where the issue is. Let's go ahead and run this. Actually, let's start at the very beginning here. Let's go back up. We're going to run this. Okay, so we get our brand new data set without all of the RSI and the other columns, the buy and sell signals. We're going to come down here. We're going to run this. We're going to run this. Okay, so now we have our RSI and the data set. We're going to run this generate signals. And now let's run this to get those signals. And now I'm going to run this here. And let's see if we get buy and sell signals. And we do. So perfect. So now we get our buy and sell signals. So we can see down here, it bought and then it sold up here, bought here, sold here, bought here, sold here, bought here, sold here, bought, sold, bought, and then sold. So right here, it looked like we would have lost money, right? We bought at a high price and sold at a lower price. And then here we bought at a high price and sold at a lower price, and then bought, sold, bought, sold. So is this trading strategy better than just holding? Well, let's see. So I'm going to create a new cell. And now in this cell, I'm going to create a function to calculate the strategy's return. So here I'm going to put create a function to calculate the strategy return. So let's create that function. I'm going to call it calculate strategy return. It's going to input some data. All right. And this is what we're going to do. I'm just going to get rid of all this. We're going to create a variable called buy prices. I'm going to set it equal to data, and I'm going to put in buy underscore signal, buy signal, and I'm going to put dot drop in a, left parentheses, right parentheses, dot values. I'm going to tab over for now. with all these suggestions. Also, I was going to create the sell prices and do the same thing, so I like that. And then it creates this strategy returns. I'm going to get rid of this. I don't need it, but I will just, well, I do need returns. I'm going to create a variable called returns. I'm going to set it equal to 0 though. Okay. And now I want to create a loop. So for buy, comma, sell, and I'm going to use the function zip, and we're going to put in the buy prices and sell prices. I want to return, yes, that there. So that looks good. So we're going to return returns plus equal sell minus buy. Okay, I like that. And just to kind of show this, what's going on, I did not want to do that. Okay, there we go. So here I'm going to put print. I'm going to do print I, comma, and then I'm going to put right parentheses, and then comma, sell, comma, and I'm going to put minus here, comma, buy, comma, and I'm going to put equals here, and then comma, sell minus buy. All right. And then I need, of course, that variable I. So I need to create a variable called I. I'm going to set I equal to 0 for now. And then I want I to increase. So I'm going to set I equal, I could do I plus equals 1, or I equals I plus 1. Okay. So I think that looks good. Let's go ahead and run this. Let's create a new cell. And now in this cell, let's go ahead and print the creating strategy returns. So I'm going to create a variable called strat underscore returns and set it equal to calculate underscore strategy returns. We're going to input data, and I'm going to print the strategy return is strat returns. And let's go ahead and print the buy and hold. Print the buy and hold strategy, which that's just us buying at the very beginning and holding to the very end. So here I'm going to, let's go ahead and let's create a variable. So I'm going to create a variable called buy underscore hold underscore return. And I'm going to set it equal to data. I'm going to put in the close price there dot ilock -1. So that's the last price minus data close dot ilock 0, which is the first price. And then we're going to print the buy and hold strategy return is that there. Okay. And let's put print left parentheses, right parentheses there. All right. So let's go ahead and run this. And now what we're looking at is we're looking at the buy and sell signals at each position. So if I go back up to the graph here, that first buy is 14.3474, so on and so forth, dollars. And then the first sell signal is right here, which is the 61.457 number here. All right, so that means that we should see two negative numbers, which is that negative 19.873 and that negative 24.069, right? Because of the buy and sell signals here and here. So those are our two negative returns. And our strategy return is actually $224 and about 89 cents. And the buy and hold strategy returns are about $215.50. So we actually did better with using the strategy than we would have just holding on to our asset. So let's create a new cell and let's just plot this, all right, to make it more appealing. So we're going to plot the returns, and I'm going to type plt dot figure. We're going to give this a figure size. We'll do 14 by 7 again. I'm going to tab over. Then I'm going to type plt dot bar, and we're going to input the buy and hold return, and then comma strategy return. And I want all this to be in the quotes. All right, so that looks good. And then I'm going to put comma here, and we're going to put Well, let's see what Google put here. We're going to put buy_hold return and then comma strat returns. And did I misspell strat up here? I did. I put straight instead of strat. So let's get rid of that there and get rid of that here. Let's run this. And now here I want to make this strat instead of straight returns. Okay, and we'll do green and red for colors. That's fine. We can do that. I'm gonna get rid of this here. All right, let's give this a title. So I'm gonna type plt.title, and I like what Google put here. So I'm just gonna tab over. So we're gonna have buy and hold versus strategy returns, and then on the y-axis we're gonna have a label called returns. I'll make it total returns, and then we're gonna show the chart. So let's go ahead and run this, and there we go. I'm using red and green. It's also around the holiday time. So there we go. We can visually see that the strategy returned more than the buy and hold strategy. So the trading strategy worked or gave us a better return than a buy and hold trading strategy. Okay, so that is it. We've demonstrated a trading strategy using RSI and Fibonacci retracement levels for Amazon. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching the video. And if you enjoyed the video, please click that like button and that subscribe button. And don't forget that you can get the code or the data set or just support the channel on Patreon at patreon.com/computerscience. And I will leave a link for that in the description below. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.